Well, we're back again with yet another pull video, because we've got another limited summon showcase coming along. This is when I save up all the saved resources, spend all the saved resources, and I quickly did the maths. 52,000, just over 52,000 Wormite, then the single summon tickets and the 10 pull tickets. I've got over 700 summons saved up. So hopefully we get Chrom and Peony. If we don't, in that number of summons, then I guess I'm a statistical outlier. But hey, let's hope we don't reach that point. Well, let's get started. I've saved the daily deal for now. So let's get into this. So I've played a bit with the Kindred ties event as well. It's actually fairly fun. A good number of boss battles, surprise Marth during the Tiki fight. Hopefully I'm not spoiling the event for anyone. I think by the time I finish editing this video and upload it and you guys are watching this, then it'll have been like at least 12 hours since the event was released. Hopefully in those 12 hours, if you actively watch Dragalia Lost videos like these ones that I upload, then I'd assume that you also play the game regularly. That kind of thing. But yeah, surprise Marth and the Tiki fight. I think the Tiki fight so far was the most difficult. Mostly because it encouraged you to bring wind units and then suddenly, oh hello, it's Marth. And then Marth absolutely beats the daylights out of you. And apparently some people have said that he can do damage to you while you're on the ground as well, which is a bit brutal, but well, they call him the Hero King, right? And I'm not entirely sure how heroic it is to be beating people while they're down. But yeah, fairly fun event. Done a bit of the, what are they called, defensive battles? Something like that. Yeah, it's fairly tame compared to the first wave defense mode we have, because the units, the enemies in this one don't move nearly as quickly. Like, God, the dogs in the first one, they just spawn behind you like 10 meters away from the gate, sprint there in 5 seconds, you're like, well, guess I'm taking damage on the gate. Whereas with this one, like, they mostly stand there, and they don't move all that much. So, yeah, it's fairly easy, fairly tame. Hopefully the Infernal difficulty later down the line makes things a bit more interesting, because honestly, I've been brute forcing it through just, you know, week 2. Well, what am I using? I'm using a Nefaria? I actually don't think she's a good pick. For good units, I'm not entirely sure who's a good unit for the event. Someone with like large area of effect skills that also charge up quite quickly. I'm not entirely sure who fits that. Because I feel like most large area of effect skills also take a while to charge up. Yes, maybe... I don't know, I suppose a lot of wand skills have a large area of effect. But, I don't know, some of the areas that you end up dealing with, in terms of, like, the spawn zones in the defensive battles, are quite large. So, 1 or 2 skills typically won't cover all of that, and I suppose that's why you've also got the event ability that sort of does the whole barrage of... It kind of looks like ice arrows. Not entirely sure what's up with that. Anyway, so we've gotten the rate up, and we're at 4.5% for the 5 stars. But, I don't know, there's a new strategy going around saying, like, you should use 20 single summons before you start doing 10 pulls. I'm not entirely sure why that's the case. But to be fair, it's not too different from what I already do, considering I'll actually want to use up the single summon tickets. But supposedly, even if you're only using Wormite, then you also want to go up to 20 pulls with single summons before you start spending 10 pulls. who knows, something about the relatively lower chance of getting pity broken, and then utilising the slightly higher pity rate on 10 pulls, because then the same rate applies for all 10 of the pulls, regardless of whether or not you get pity broken by the first out of those 10. I believe the same rate applies for all 10 pulls in a 10 pull. But yeah. I'm not entirely sure where the maps is actually documented, but that is the prevailing strategy that I've gone by, and I don't know, it seems to work for me. Oh, looks like we've been pity broken. Well, I say that, and is it it's a dragon? Another Freya isn't too bad. I think my Freya is only at like 2 unbinds at the moment, so yeah, extra unbind on the Freya. Even though she's not actually, you don't really need to max unbind her to make her usable for, I suppose it's mostly Noelle, but even then, like, most people prefer using Ariel over Freya, but if you're using, I don't know, there is a strategy going on for Expert Ciela at the moment where you have a Tobias with a Freya, and that Freya transformation, Dragon Skill, becomes your only source of healing. So I imagine if I were to ever get a Tobias, then the Freya would go quite well with that. Another thing to note is that we've had the Dream Summon has come out as well. So depending on whether or not I pull any new adventurers in this pulling session, then we could possibly use the Dream Summon to fill out the roster. Out of the units I'm currently missing, I think I'd use the Dream Summon to summon Grace, because she can potentially enable some solo shenanigans, and some people are even using Grace in the Expert Ciela fight because her Phase 2 has her granting herself a defense buff. And Wind at the moment currently lacks any units with the ability to dispel buffs from enemies. So, yeah, people are subbing in Grace and sometimes Cleo to remove the defense buff. What's even stranger? I don't know, I saw a Reddit post a couple of days ago. Was it a couple of days ago? Somebody was saying that you should use a Naveed helper to dispel buffs if you're playing solo. And I suppose some people are soloing Expert Ciela. I'm not quite at that point yet, because Expert Ciela, I believe, requires the Tier 2 high Midgard Zorma weapons, and I'm still only clearing Expert of High Mercury at the moment. High Brynhilde I haven't really tackled all that much just yet. I've gotten like first clears for Standard and Expert High Brynhilde, but I'm not entirely confident in that fight. So still building up some like more High Mercury weapons, the kind of thing. I have like a 1 unbound wand, a max unbound tier 1 High Mercury lance, but I don't know. I was thinking of trying to use Fjorm to cheese Expert High Mercury, High Brynhilde, but it doesn't seem to be going that well at the moment. I try and go into like public rooms and it never seems like we quite have enough damage, or people don't know what they're doing, they apply Bog before she's even been broken, and so we just end up like getting her to about a third health, and then nobody actually knows the fight well enough to finish her off from that point. But I think that if I manage to clear Master High Mercury and get a tier 2 Lance Perfume, then things might become a bit easier. I don't know how it stacks up. To be fair, I don't even remember how the maps works out for tier 1 versus tier 2 weapons against the respective high dragons, because the tier 2 weapons don't have the high dragon bane ability on them. So while there is increased strength on the tier 2 weapons, I don't know if that outweighs the tier 1 Punisher ability by all that much. I mean, in the end it'll help me break into like higher might rooms, but DPS wise, I'm not too sure it'll have a massive amount of difference. I mean, I'm sure there is a difference, because otherwise people wouldn't gate out tier 1 weapon users, but it's hard to say. Anyway, let's bust through these single summon tickets. Go through 7 more to reach our 20. And then we start with the 10 pulls. But yeah, we were pity broken by a Freya, which isn't all too bad. I'm still missing quite a few dragons, like Garland, for example. There's Gavner and Trenna. Who else am I really looking for? In terms of fire dragons, wind dragons, not too much going on in terms of wind dragons, I think, right? I mean, an extra Vayu or 2 would be nice. I'd like to be able to use a Vayu instead of my Zephyr. But I'm still reluctant to use Sunstones on unbinding dragons at the moment. I'm kind of glad that I didn't use Sunstones to unbind my Halloween Maritimus, because I was about to in order to start attempting to farm, like, standard Hybrid-Hilda, but yeah. Power crept almost... Is it power creep? I suppose if you're running an actual healer in Hybrid-Hilda, you would probably still use Halloween Maritimus. Possibly? I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure what the metagame is like for Hybrid-Hilda at the moment. But yeah, Expert Ciela came out at the similar difficulty spread, or just a bit below that of Expert, or the Volk fight, that is. So you get an easy first clear of the fight on Standard, and then Expert wants you to be using a tier 2 higher dragon weapon. But let's use the first 10 pull of this summon session. We're 12 minutes in. It's taken me this long to get to 10 pulls. But you know, that's kind of what happens when you have over 220 single summon tickets. You have to work through them eventually. I mean, ideally, I'd like to get Tiki on the part 2 of the showcase, but 2-part showcases, it makes it so difficult to pull for everything. Because with two rate up units on this showcase, like there's a 1% chance at base rate that I pull anything that I want. And on the Tiki showcase, it's going to be 0.5% that I pull anything that I potentially want. Whereas if they're all on one showcase, it's 1.5%. I mean, given like that at some point I'm going to pull, or hopefully I pull 1 or 2 of the limited units, then the chances shrink. But, you know, with the higher focus rates, and like I'd get more Eldwater out of those slightly more common dupes as well, right? You've had 2 10 pulls in a row that only have 1 4-star. That's pretty bad. But hopefully we have some decent luck. So 40 pulls, I believe that puts me at a 6% rate for 5 stars. Hopefully we don't creep up too high. Yep. There are the golden Fafnirs. A 5-star is on the way down. Oh, there's 2 5-stars. That's a sword. And a bow. Who might we be missing in terms of... Am I missing any 5-star bows? I don't believe that's the case. I hope we get Chrom. Who else could it be? A dupe? Hey! The Prince of Elise has come home. Oh, and is that Lissa and Frederick? I forget the name of his sister. But, Chrom. Supposedly, like, after reading up a bit more on the data mining, Chrom's awakened ether on a burning target deals up to 6,000% over 2 hits in terms of the damage modifier. So, yeah, I think it is literally the highest damaging skill in the game. Once you build up all the stacks and all the skill reservoir, yeah. So it leaves us gunning for one single unit, that is Peony. I am fairly impatient at this point because, oh my god, there's so many single summon tickets. But yeah, Peony at the base 0.5% chance now. I don't believe we're going to be... Oh, it's going to be difficult, right? Pulling for a single focus unit is always tricky. Oh, goodness. Okay, so we have a 5-star. Let's see what it is. That's a dragon, okay. Oh, Konohana Sakuya. I believe I used some sunstones to unbind her a while ago. Well, we can start working on a second, I guess. But the best in slot fire dragon is basically just Mars for everyone now, isn't it? It's so tricky. I don't have Mars, and so like every time I consult the simulations to be like, how should I set up my AI adventurers? In like fire teams, it's all like Mars, 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 and so there's no option to be like, who's second best for Marth? I mean, I'm pretty sure that second best for Marth is Konohana Sakuya, but I'm not 100% sure. And so, at this point, it's mostly guesswork at this point when I set up my fire adventurers, which is unfortunate. I'd like to be slightly more certain, but I suppose when you're like me, I haven't really learnt how to properly kit out adventurers at a glance. Like, I always refer back to the simulations for loadouts, co-ability setups, and that kind of stuff, because we're at a pretty hefty number of adventurers and dragons now, and like, well, yeah, I guess only some of them are relevant in any sort of team building scenario. It's still, you know, a lot of the time you wouldn't think, yes, always use Joe, I believe, for burn inflicting chain co-ability reasons, that kind of thing. I'm not entirely sure what Joe's co-ability or chain co-ability is. I think it's his chain co-ability, right? Because his standard co-ability would be skill haste, due to being a bow. But nowadays you can't even rely on the fact, or at least you can't rely on people's weapons to indicate their co-ability anymore. At least with the 3 latest units we've added with this showcase, like Shono included. They have unique ones. Then for some reason Halloween Mim with the crit damage, and Valentine's Melody with the crit damage. I don't know why they suddenly have a different co-ability as well. That was always somewhat strange. Don't really know what to think about those. Wait, Valentine's Orion. I suppose Valentine's Hildegard is in the pool nowadays. I still haven't gotten her. Well, got the rainbow. It's wand. No, wand? Staff. Hey! Oh, you took way too long to come home. 7 Navids! 7 Navids! 7 Navids! Was that over a year ago? Was it over a year ago that I tried pulling... When did I last try pulling for Valentine's Hildegard? It wasn't when she was released. I think there was a banner revival, right? Was it sometime in like July, August? I remember recording that pull video. 7 Navids, no Valentine's Hildegard, and she's finally come home. Goodness me. It's been over a year since her release and she's finally here. Although I suppose the same... Oh, 5-star, okay. The same could be said of any release 5-star unit that I don't have at the moment. Hello, Arctos. I have only got one copy of Arctos at the moment, so I suppose an extra one isn't too bad. Not that I'm really using... I'm not even sure if Arctos is any good anymore. I mean, yeah, he's gonna be usable for characters like Ezolith, but I'd have to double check to see whether Ezolith actually still uses Arctos in her best in slot, or whether it's like, nope, everyone uses Mars now. Mars. I refrained from putting on the Gala Showcase, and as a result I'm completely, like, dry on Eldwater. Or at least I was, like, up until yesterday, like, leveling up everyone's co-abilities to using the backline of, like, endgame units. So, like, building a Hawk, for example, actually means that I have to level up, like, I think it's like Silas, and then Dragonule Zanfred, something like that. Like, units I wouldn't typically power up, but then I'm dumping like 200,000 Eldwater into backline units just to get their co-abilities up. It's kind of scary how much you end up spending with new co-ability changes. But it's hard to reliably get Eldwater as well. I mean, like, the best way of getting it is... I mean, I guess there's summoning, but when there were triple drops for Imperial Onslaught, then, like, people were also farming the coins, I believe, in order to exchange for High Dragon Prince, and then you could sell those for Eldwater as well. And that apparently was a better return for your Wormite or Diamantium, if you're using the currency to do stamina refreshes, I believe. But I mean, I did the farming, but I never actually went and exchanged the currency for Worm Prince. So I suppose that's still possible if I want to, like, convert a bunch of materials into Eldwater. I'm not quite at that point though. Summerluca. One day he'll get a Mana Spiral, right? Oh, Halloween Edward really needs a Mana Spiral. So many light units need Mana Spirals. And then, I don't know, the recent addition of the Wind Mana Spirals was a bit perplexing, because we only have like a small handful of units with Mana Spirals at the moment. I feel like should be far more than we do have at the moment. Okay, so this is summon number 10 to build up our pity rate. Never mind, I guess we've been pity broken. Hello, Lazri. Lazri, I think, is fairly good in the water roster. I think he ranks like... Is Lazri a he? I'm not entirely sure what Lazri's gender is. But Lazri, fairly good in the water roster. Excluding buffer units, I believe Lazri is top 3 in terms of DPS. Okay, so that was summon number 1. We're going to push to 144 single summon tickets remaining before we pull out the 10 pulls. Unless, that is, we get graced by another 5-star while doing single pulls. 4-star dragons. I've been playing for so long now that 4-star dragons are largely inconsequential to me. Like, I just use them to... I just sell them for like rupees and Eldwater. I believe there are literally no 4-star dragons that I keep nowadays. I have like one copy of each 4-star dragon at most. And that's because, like, I don't know, I typically have max unbound 5-star dragons that overpower them at this point, at whatever role they're used for. So, like, in terms of, like, even for water DPS units. I literally have... I have like a two max unbound Leviathans and a max unbound Dragonure Germ. So like, I believe because of that I have one Vodunoi, just in case I want to set up a 4 DPS water team, but if I ever unbind like another DPS Fire Dragon... What is going on in the top? Oh. Oh, hello Garland. That is my first Garland. I don't know if you guys saw that, but before that circle started dropping, there was this wiggling yellow thing at the top of the screen. I believe that was the swirling animation of the crystal that was somehow showing. It was really odd. Just some weird camera shenanigans, I guess. But I guess that also means that if you're doing single summons, then you can accurately call when something is gonna fall and turn into a rainbow. Huh. I've never noticed that before, but I suppose I've never had a... Does that mean I've never had a transforming crystal? During single falls? Either way, I have completely lost count of how many summons we want to be doing now with the single summon tickets. Something like 16 more from this point before we start using 10 pulls. Ah, but it's such a tiring way of pulling. Single summon tickets just take so long to get through. But still, I think it's... Is it mathematically optimal to still be using single summons up until 20 pulls? I'm not entirely sure. I think there was... Somebody did do the math for it. That's why I do it now, but I cannot recall it off the top of my head. Ooh. Malka, he'll get a Mana Spiral one day, right? What is it gonna be? Inflict paralysis on all your skills? I actually do not know what Malka's skills are. Like, I've never used him. I believe he has a defense buff, but for if I want a defense buffing Light Lance, then I just use Rosen, right? Or am I just assuming based on his characterization with the whole armor thing? I'm not entirely sure. I have a max unbound copy of Unicorn, but I don't even know why I hold on to Unicorn, because I have a max unbound Jan as well. I don't know, is it in the very rare occasion that I want to use more than one light healer in an AI team? Oh, Misashi, once he gets a Mana Spiral, if he gets a Mana Spiral, I think he'll be quite destructive, because he's got a very simple skill set, right? His skill 1 does damage, his skill 2, is that a buffing skill? It's like a greedy self buff for like 5 seconds. Wonder what... I mean, what would they do with skills like that? Actually, I'm curious as to what they'll do for Mana Spirals for, like, buff characters. Like, for example, Elizan, like, just standard story Elizan, puts out huge amounts of team DPS in terms of her buff, combined with Gavner and Trenna. Like, she puts out the strength buffs like nobody's business. But... how... I don't know, Cygames would want to improve on those characters with Mana Spirals, but... you just increase the strength of the buff? Make it improve your defense as well? I mean, that's what they did for Patia, right? Patia's skill 1, I believe, was it only a defense buff initially? And then they made it buff strength with the Mana Spiral? But if they over-buff Elizan or make her damaging skill, like, somehow useful despite it being a second skill, I don't know, would we see 4 Elizan teams come out? Yeah, but then again, she doesn't have, like, full status resists for anything. Ah, but then they might make her... They might give her 4 resistances with the spiral, huh? Appearance rates, let's see where we're at. Okay, so we'll do 4 more summons with the single summon tickets, and then we'll move back onto the temples, which are the exciting part of the videos, I assume. Right? Is that the case? I don't know, I can't imagine it's terribly interesting to watch multiple single summons, which I guess at this point are the main meat of my videos, right? Like the majority of my videos are just these short clips of me doing... Oh, well, they're not entirely short clips either, huh? Just prolonged periods of me using single summon tickets. Marty, what will he do when he gets a mana spiral? Will he get the Uden treatment? Just... I was just so perplexed when they released Marty. It's just like, hey, it's a 3-star character, we're gonna give him stun resist, like the story character that has the exact same weapon and element as he does. Like, come on, Cygames! Like, dead on arrival. The only people that play Marty are those that like him as a character. In terms of actual skill set, he's mediocre. Dear. I believe that's like the 3rd Fritz I've pulled now, right? Anyway. Double checking because I'm paranoid I can't count. We are at 5%. Here we go. 10-volt summons. Ooh, no indicators. That is a bad sign. Is it 1 4-star? 2 4-stars. Could be worse. Could be worse. Okay. Let's push through these because 2 4-star dragons, not terribly exciting. As I mentioned, like Voginoi, he's dead to me. Rock, mostly dead to me, I believe. I still use 1 rock every now and again in my single player teams. It's 5 4-stars, okay. Dragon, Blade, Dragon, Lance, Dragon, okay. Yachio. Do people still play Yachio in... What is it, High Zodiac? Do people even play High Zodiac anymore? I feel like there's very little reason to unless you're farming the High Zodiac weapons for... like... what is it, the Compendium? I mean, the Compendium's not a thing yet, but I believe... was it mentioned? Was the Compendium mentioned? Or is it just something people talk about a lot? To the point that I think it's going to be a thing. I don't remember. But completionists will eventually want to clear High Zodiac a number of times to get all the weapons. And that, I suppose, includes myself. High Zodiac, I think, was the last High Dragon I managed to clear. I'm not sure... I think I got High Jupiter by using my Nefaria, and then just like, people just blow up High Jupiter so quickly nowadays. Are we still not being pity broken? We're at like... I think we're at about 6.5% now, no? Goodness me. Fritz, come on, stop it! Am I missing any 4-star characters? Oh, gold, for example? Come on, I could use a gold, right? As for what other 4-star characters are. Okay, 7%. We're getting pretty unlucky at this point. Oh my goodness. Are we going to see ourselves hit? My goodness. Oh goodness, this is unfortunate. But yeah, 4-star units. Am I missing any besides gold? I'm not entirely sure. We didn't get too many 4-star units added nowadays either. Oh, finally pity broken. Can we at least get more than one 5-star? We have such high rates! Oh my god! The blade. I'm missing Victor when it comes to 5-star blades. I'm not sure about anyone else. Beautician Zardin. Ugh. Terrible. I think his skills have the same issue as Lucretia. Like, the modifiers are too low for the amount of time it takes for the skill to come out, so he just ends up having terrible DPS as a result. Excess sent to goodie box. Okay, yep, we've reached that point already. Goodness me. Beautician Zardin. I suppose I wouldn't really do much even if I did get a Victor. Like, I've been clearing High Mercury with Wedding Alazan. It's fairly fun, actually. Fairly fun? I guess it gets repetitive, because, like, High Mercury is a fairly... It's an okay fight. I suppose the most annoying thing is when people, like, either bait Mercury in the wrong direction, like they steal baits, for example, or, like, I don't know, High Mercury, just messing up in High Mercury, it's just annoying. Ah, goodness. Like, the annoying baits means that, like, if somebody doesn't know the fight well enough, they're probably gonna die when the whirlpools come out. And then... when people start, like, bursting each other's bubbles as well, it's so painful. So painful. Oh. Pity broken before you reach 10. Can we have a Peony yet? Oh, another Chrom? Another Chrom. Okay. I hope that isn't a sign of things to come. Now, would I prefer Peony over Tiki? I suppose I have to start making that decision now, huh? I mean, like, Peony is, with the 20% light damage co-ability, I think she's gonna be really good. But if Tiki is at any sort of similar power level, then... she could be really good as well. It's so difficult. So difficult. So difficult. Would I rather have a strong water unit or a strong light unit? I think I would prefer the strong light unit in the end. Water units, like, I'm building up... I mean, I have the Fjorm now, so if I do get the High Mercury weapon, like, she'll enable me to clear, like, High Brynhilda just fine. But what if Tiki has a good co-ability? Decisions. Oh, hello, Arctos number 2. Okay, not too bad. Come on. Peony, please? Peony, please? That's not the right lance. Lance? Wand. Yeah, I suppose any wand could become a lance if you stab someone hard enough with it. But then Peony doesn't actually hold the wand, huh? She is yet another wand unit that has a unique weapon model. And the first one, I believe, was Veronica, so yet another Fire Emblem unit. Who else is there? There's Mega Man, I believe. Doesn't actually hold the wand. I'm not sure if there's anyone else actually that has special models. I mean, like the hunters, for example, have their special weapons out when they're charging force strikes. But I believe they still hold their standard weapons during standard combos. If only Monster Hunter Berserker did more damage. I mean, I suppose he's still viable for use in Evolk, but it's just not something you see much. People are fairly set in who they use. Oh, Templar Hope! Right, that's another 4-star we're missing. I think some people have also been using him in experts, well, possibly using him in the Cielo fight because of the door resistances. I mean, the other door resistance wind unit is Gala Ranzol, and we know how people feel about that. Oh, pity broken. Is that a wand? Ooh, that is a wand. It's Peony! Fortune smiles upon us today. I suppose that is not too bad for a summoning session. Am I done here? I might very well be done here. That leaves us with 115 single summon tickets, no temples. So how many summons have we used? About 200, right? 200 summons to pull both on focus units. That is fairly good. Anyway, let's have a look. I've actually retained the 5-star summon tickets here. I may as well use them. I don't actually like the fact that they add extra dots to the summon windows. It slightly annoys me. Who am I gonna get? So this was the Adventurer pull. Blade. Victor? Ooh! Ah, Mikoto! Finally! So yeah, a day 1... Was Mikoto day 1? I'm not sure. I believe like Lily and Naveed were added late, like quite early on. I think I joined when the Lily showcase was active. Okay, and then dragon. Let's have a look at the 5-star dragon that I end up getting here. Who could I hope for? I don't think it's going to be anything new like Gavner and Trenner, but Takemi Kazuchi. I have a max unbound copy of him and like another copy of him as well. Just, I don't know, Overdrive Punisher. Anyway, we also have the Dream Summon, which I want to use. That is here. Dream Summon. Let's use it. So, in terms of adventurers, there's Grace, Belina Lathna, Mitsuba, Summer Saliera, Valerio, Victor, Kasha, Kirsty, Tobias. Oh, I'm missing Gold and Joachim in terms of 4 stars. I believe I want to be using this on Grace. But Gavin and Trenner as well could be fairly good. Ariel could be good. I don't think there's anything in terms of other dragons. There's not too major, right? Yeah, I guess we're going for Grace. Boop. Boop. We don't even get any sort of fanfare when it comes to getting Grace. It's just like, hey, you have Grace now. She's in your team. So, collection. And all the way to the bottom because she's going to be... Oh, she's actually fairly high might compared to... That's really weird. Anyway, I guess that is it in terms of the new units we've pulled. Valentine's Hildegard finally came home. It's been so long. But we've pulled ourselves a Lazri as well in terms of other 5-star units. We got both of the limited units on this showcase, which leaves me in a pretty good position to pull for Tiki in the next showcase as well. So yeah, I think you guys can look forward to that video as well, because I'm not completely dry on resources like the Monster Hunter showcase has left me. Goodness me. I'm still missing Hunter Cerise, Hunter Vanessa. So painful. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching, for bearing with me this whole time. Take it easy, stay safe, and I wish you luck in your upcoming polls.